Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Peace Podcast. We're so glad that you tuned in for this episode because I have a special guest again. And you know my special guests are on point. So this one's going to be another good one. We have Malaysia Harrell here, and she is a spiritual transformation coach, speaker, and author who helps women find freedom and fulfillment. But really, she's a healer. She is an unleasher. She is a light that leads women back to their true selves so that they can live fully, finally. And as a licensed psychotherapist and board certified clinical social worker, she blends the clinical expertise, spiritual wisdom, and intuitive guidance to help women overcome their past trauma, heal their hurts, and define their vision for their lives. Her incomparable coaching guides her clients through an intimate, insightful journey to break free from limiting beliefs and expectations and discover a life of authenticity, purpose, and bliss. She is not just a brilliant therapist and coach, but a woman with her own against all odds success story from overcoming childhood trauma to a life-threatening illness that could have crippled her. She has built her storied life and career brick by brick, fighting fears, failures, and setbacks to have the life she's always known was hers to claim. So, Malaysia, thank you for being here. Before we get started, can you tell everybody where they can find you? Because after that introduction, I know they're going to be looking for you.
Yes, thank you, Karey Nicole, for this wonderful opportunity. People can find me on most social media platforms. Instagram, I'm highly active at Malaysia H. Harrell. And of course, I have my websites, malaysiaharrell.com, and for my mental health and wellness business, blissfullifeconsulting.com.
She's all over the place, guys. So make sure that you go and find her. So I know a little bit about your story, but my listeners do not. So
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about what brought you here before we get into the meat and potatoes of your thought processes and the way that you coach others?
Yeah, so like a lot of, especially women, right, who, and you talked about how I experienced childhood trauma, we develop this mask of perfection,
Mm,
right? People pleasing. And so everything we have to do, we want to appear great on the outside, number one, so we get that validation that's not always in alignment with love, right? So we end up having jobs that we wouldn't typically have, or relationships that we wouldn't typically honor, that don't honor us. And so I basically had that where I had a life of perfection, and I wanted to be in uniform after 9/11. I said I wanted to have a life of service. I always did. I started in high school, a junior ROTC, and I did a lot for the community. I was just a giver, right? A giver. People who have experienced that, they want to give, give, give. And so 9/11 happened. I went into the military doing clinical social work. And it wasn't until 2020 when I had a near death experience that basically broke down all of those nicely boxed up traumas in the
mm.
closet. And it forced me to look at myself and who Malaysia Harrell truly was, authentically and intrinsically. And now I can be my authentic self and help others to do the same.
Yeah. And, you said the part about compartmentalizing all those traumas. And what did that look like for you in your story?
Well, again, there was when I looked at things and I started writing my book, I actually, went into a bit of depression because I
Mm,
was like, how did I go through all of that? I mean, it's just by the grace of God that I'm here today, because
amen.
anybody who went through all of those things and had built this life that looked so successful on the outside, and all of that came crumbling down, right?
Mm,
254 pounds, oral chemo, prednisone, Bell's palsy, 9 surgeries over the past 5 years. So I none of those things existed to me. I became, I believe in faith-based, the power of
Yeah.
manifestation and, relentless faith and belief, right? I don't believe that I can't overcome. I never believed that. But to the point where I started writing my book and I was like, wow, like, I don't know how I went through this. And so, I basically had blocked that old life and
Yeah.
became a new person. And in
Yeah.
the military is perfect for people like that because they don't even call you your first name, right? And then I got married, so I had a different name. So I didn't identify with this
Mm,
old version of who Malaysia was, you know. And so again, they were put away to protect me. They were a defense mechanism
mm,
to allow me to become the person that I became. And more recently, what's so crazy is that this message came up for me so many different times, and I want to say it today. And it's not to validate anything that happened to us with our traumas, but what happened to you so that you can become the person today that you are today to do your true divine calling. You wouldn't be doing it. Who's going to be doing mental health? Listening to other
girl.
people's problems. I
Yes.
wouldn't. I wouldn't
Yes.
have.
Yes. And that is so powerful because I think that oftentimes we do the why is this happening? Why is this happening? But we're not omniscient. We can't see our future, but he can. So he's like, girl, listen, I know what this future requires, and I have to refine you in this season so you can do what you need to do when you get there. Like you said, if you hadn't been through anything, how are you going to help anybody else who's been through something? They're going to be like, you don't understand. You don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and having a purpose that is not your purpose, that is heavy, that's not easy either. People think,
Oh.
oh, I just want to be out there. I want to have a following. I want to be an influencer. That's not my calling. My
Mm-mm.
calling is to be a person of true divine purpose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Living in my true divine assignment. And that's not work. That's a
Yep.
calling. That's the
Yep.
difference. And I would not be able to do this had I not gone through some of this stuff. And I remember Joel Osteen, one time I was listening to him, and he was saying how much the bill was for their church, for their mega church, right?
Mm,
It's in this huge arena, that used to be like a basketball arena or something like that.
yeah.
And so, imagine, like, people think, I want to, everybody's on social media. I want to be a millionaire. I want to make all this money. And so you don't realize that it's harder to keep that money than to get it. And it's the
Girl.
same thing with your health. It's the same thing. People lose 100 pounds. They say that was the easier part, not keeping it off. Most people, a high percentage, gain it back. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, I want to be obedient with what I'm given.
Mm,
Because number one, I know it can be taken anytime, right? My life
mm-hmm.
was I was almost out of here.
Yeah.
So I just have a different affinity and level of um alignment, because I think a lot of us work for money. Like in the past, we've
Yeah.
done that. I think the new generation is saying, nope, I'm not going to do that. Maybe I'm going to live at home a little longer.
Mm-hmm.
But for some of us, that wasn't an option. We had to go out
Yeah.
and say, okay, I need to go and do what I need to do to have a life. And
Yeah.
so if you do have an opportunity to live in your divine calling, you will never work a day in your life.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think there's something about it that it's interesting. I have this conversation all the time. People will say, I don't know how you do what you do. To
Yeah,
me, it's easy. Like, I'm
that's
like,
right.
how could I not do what I'm doing? This is easy. And so when something is so instinctual to you that other
Yeah.
people can look at you and be like, I don't know how you do it. But to you, it's like, that's light work. Like, I wake up in the morning and do that. Not that it's not heavy, not that it's not arduous,
Yes,
kind of
right.
process, but like it doesn't feel like something that I'm having to like pull up out of nowhere because it's just in me. And that's the
And
difference between doing what you were called to do
that's
and what
right.
he gifted you with,
That's
and
right.
going out here and trying to do something that's not of you because it becomes just this difficult work type task, you know?
It is so, so true. Like, if you gave me a technological job, I'd be like, okay. And
Girl,
for other people, it's like drinking water. Like, okay,
I give
they
that to my man
coding
every time.
kids,
I'm like, can you do
children,
this?
youth. The little children are teaching me how to
Yes,
use the phones.
yes.
And you know what I mean? And I'm my age is a little different. So I'm like, wait a minute. And it's true because I remember, of course, after my near death experience, I, have to do life differently. I don't like
Yeah.
labels, right? But
Mm,
I experience life differently and I have to do things differently. And I remember there's been times when I had headaches that were just like, okay, like, God, I can't do this. What we need to do
mm,
to get me out of this? Like,
yeah.
and someone will call me and say, because I have a candle company as well. Aromatherapy is one of my big, like,
Love it.
we talk fragrances and aromatherapy. We could be here all night, okay? But someone would say, hey, I need a gift set. I do concierge gift sets. Sometimes I do that just for fun, right? And I could walk downstairs while I'm having a headache and it would go away. It would go away. It's so weird. It's like I'm giving this energy of love and joy
Mm,
to other people
mm,
while I'm experiencing pain.
mm.
It's when you're obedient because somebody must have needed that for you to call me. Number one, a lot of people don't know I do it. And so so normally I do them for funerals. I do them for,
Mm.
so it was like, okay, this person is in pain and they need this, and it would subside. It wouldn't just leave like, okay, boom. I would get down there, I'd be thinking, I'd be praying, I'd be looking around, what
Yeah.
do I have in stock? And then it would just alleviate. It would just like go away. And so again, I would encourage people, especially people who are going through stress and trauma, especially during our current times, I
Mhm.
would say to do whatever your calling is. If it is giving joy to other people in some sort of a way, you could write a handwritten note to someone and see how you
Mhm.
feel after you do that. And I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's reciprocity. What you give is what you receive.
Yep. So good. So good. And I could go on forever about how trauma rests in your body and about how
Oh,
when
yeah.
you allow yourself to let it out, feel those feels, but also
Yes.
do things for other people,
Yeah.
your body responds completely different to when you shove it down and go out in the world pretending. And
Yeah.
speaking of pretending, this episode is really about giving ourselves permission to heal. And
Hmm.
I feel like you know a thing or two about giving ourselves permission to heal.
Yeah.
So there's this thing that we do, and I'm going to say as women, but I've never experienced what men do. But as women, I feel like we need to walk in the world pretending with this mask. We don't need
Mhm.
to, but we tell ourselves that because
Right.
we have so many other people to take care of, and there's so many other responsibilities on our shoulders that we just say, I have a headache or I have, an ailment. I'm just going to pretend like that doesn't exist. But don't let one of my family members or my kids or somebody else outside of me have that same symptom because I'm going to go take care of them. And
That's
it's
right.
really us not giving ourselves the permission
Hmm.
to heal ourselves or to
Hmm.
even be broken, hurt, or ailing in the first place.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
acknowledgement. We don't acknowledge it because
No.
it's like, I don't want to go there. And I used to joke too and say, because I wanted to do 30 years. I ended up doing 20 years and 8 months, but I wanted to do 30. And I remember saying, I can see myself retiring and like rocking in the corner crying
Oh,
because to deal with everything that I dealt
yeah.
with. Of course, in the military and active duty, you deal with so much other stuff on top
Mm,
of everything you've already done. And it was just, I always thought about that. But you're right. We don't allow ourselves that because I think the pain, we feel like we're not going to get out of it. We don't know how to experience it.
mm,
And also, because we are the people who are the helpers, we've had this assignment that's planted on us. If we do go into that dark path or that valley, then we're gonna say, well, I can't be there for everybody else, and
yeah.
everyone else is always depending on me. But
Yeah.
we've been given the assignment, but also we've not been not given the assignment to take care of ourselves. Our cups
Mhm.
need to be full. They say that all the time. Put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. But I think it feels like it's so dark that it's like, how are we going to get out of that? And I remember when I was down, right? And I couldn't take care of myself. I couldn't get
Mhm.
out of the bed. I'm on a walker, right? My husband and my family members are flying in to take care of me, right? I remember making phone calls to people when I was in that darkness, and people will start talking about their own problems.
Mm.
You're like, wait a minute now. They don't see you as this, they will never see you as this
Nope.
individual who needs help. And again, they did come and help as far as taking care of me,
Right.
but I mean, you've set up this dynamic where you are the one, you are the
Mhm.
expert. And
Mhm.
so it is challenging. And one thing I would encourage, if you do go through that season, or you do decide, you know what, I'm going to surrender. Let me figure out how to do this. You may not heal in the environment that got you sick.
Come on. Come on.
It's so true. Like, so you're not going to be able to go to the people for counsel that you've counseled. It just
No.
is intuitive. And you think, well, you need to be there but for me because I was always there for you. And that's not the case. God may have assigned someone else. If you see the people that I met when I decided to surrender and be obedient. So again, my retirement felt like a funeral. And so, I mean, I was like, I'm not sure I'm going to make it. Like, I'm not sure.
Mm.
I don't know. My health was still. And so it wasn't until 3 weeks later, I'm meeting with Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks. God's like, I'm going to give you not only double for your trouble, I'm going to show you that in a very short period of time, I have something for you that you never thought would even happen. Your mind
Mm.
cannot even conceive what I
Mm.
have for you because you just have this human mind. And so that's why, oh, I have to make money. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I need
Yes.
food, clothing, and shelter. If I don't have that, I can't do anything. I can't help
Mhm.
anyone else. I'm going to give you double in ways that you never thought you'd get it.
Mm. That gave me chills. But
This,
but but it's so true. And I think to roll back to what you were saying before, like you can't heal in the same environment that made you sick. Sometimes that's yourself, right? Like
Mhm.
internally, you are the one making yourself sick
Ah,
because you refuse to allow yourself to go deep enough into those
mm,
emotions to actually heal them because
mm,
you're so afraid of them. So
mm.
sometimes you can't even sit with yourself because that is the environment that is making you sick because
It
you won't
is.
allow you to pay attention to you because
Mm,
you, and oftentimes we will distract ourselves by being the helper. Like we've
definitely.
made our role the helper in
Yeah.
our relationships because we know that if I'm helping other people, guess what I don't have to deal with? My own issues. And but those issues are what's making you sick. And so, in order to get yourself out of that place that caused you the pain in the first place, you got to
Hmm.
heal what's under there. And
Mm.
sometimes we're just not willing to do that because we don't know what it means. Like we've played this role for so long, we've been in
Yeah.
this trauma for so long.
Control.
Yes, we're like, this environment is the devil that we know. If
That's
I
right.
heal this, then what am I going to walk in the world the same? Are people going to perceive me the same? Are people going to want to be in relationship with me the same? And sometimes the answer is no. But like you just said, perhaps because he needs to level you up to another place, which he can't do if you refuse to go inward and deal with those things that are ailing you.
It's
And that's a
so
hard thing.
true. It's so true. Like you said, two poignant things. One, I went and saw Eckhart Tolle several weeks ago, the master of mindfulness, right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like in order to connect with the divine, in order to get close to God and to hear what he has for you, then that mindfulness has to be there. And he said, what role he was talking about, the role we play in our own suffering. So
Mm.
he was saying like how many times you have to go through certain things. And he said, like, until, because you'll keep going through the same
Yes.
thing, the same relationship with different people.
Mm.
Oh, everybody takes advantage of me, right? I'm the victim. But no,
Yes.
we play a role in that because we don't
Mhm.
have the boundaries, because we want to be liked, and all of these things. And the second thing that you said was, what was the second thing that was the poignant thing? um oh, not acknowledging, right? and
Yeah.
and continuing to basically be in our own suffering. And
Yes.
so I think that is so important, because it will set, the moment you take off the mask is the moment you will be set free, period.
Mm.
So when you start to go into your authentic self, learn why you're truly here, and potentially why you went through some of the things that you went through. You may not understand and you may not know, but not continuing to suffer within ourselves. Again, we play a role in that. And so some people will
Mhm.
say, well, I'm in this relationship. Well, where there are signs that were there when you took that job, and they told you one thing and then they changed it when you got there, were there things that we didn't take heed of? And
Mhm.
so again, there is reciprocity with everything, with the nature, right? Nature is responding to our actions, right?
Yeah.
And so yes, you will. Oh, the second poignant part is, yes, things will change. You will not have the same relationship. It's not like, oh, I got to move to the mountains and be away from everybody, but your new normal will not look the same as your old life.
Yeah.
You can't do the same. What did they say about the definition of insanity? Doing the same
Yep.
things over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yes.
So you do go through a lot of grief, a grief with not being the same person that you were before, learning who this new
Mhm.
individual is. But yes, the people around you will not, it's not like you'll banish everybody into another universe, but you may not talk to that same person, the person you talk to every
Mm.
day, that talk through trauma dumps on you, and you feel like terrible after you get off the phone with them.
Yes.
You won't be talking to them every day, and
Yeah.
maybe it'll be less and less. So it's not like you need to, again, become this new person that doesn't associate with anyone, but the level of people that have access to you will change.
Woo. That's good. That's so
Mhm.
good. So as we're thinking about, our relationships with ourselves, et cetera, let's rewind a little bit. And what was the moment when you first realized that your body was giving you that life or death signal? And how did that change your relationship with yourself?
Mm. So I had come back from deployment. It was almost like a spiritual awakening that I had.
Mm.
I didn't know if it was a acute stress reaction. That's what you get, before you have PTSD. And I was at the deployment, and they sent me there at the height of COVID to work with the Navajo Nation. I was sent by myself to be the sole behavioral health provider for two
Goodness.
medical centers for people in a organization or in a place that some of the people live like a third world country. They didn't
Mhm.
have, running water. So I was having this awakening, because I was like, when you said I'm of service, I have this uniform, I'm a highly decorated officer, and you're like, is this a joke? Like, what am I coming to do to talk to
Mm.
people who generations have experienced the most profound traumas that you can ever even believe? They're telling me their stories, and now COVID is decimating their nation, their tribe.
Mm.
And I'm the expert.
Right.
Really? I was like, I couldn't, I needed to be my authentic self. I was like, this isn't right. And they're telling me, go back to DC, tell them what's going on here, and I'm in a quandary. I'm in a dilemma, because it was like some things were going on that it was like, okay, this isn't right.
Mm.
And my eyes were being awakened. I had already worked on Capitol Hill. I worked for the Surgeon General of the United States. I already saw some things. I saw the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain.
Yes.
I didn't see the whole Wizard of Oz. I don't know everything, but I'm saying I knew that what we experience in this world wasn't the truth.
Mm.
It's definitely different than what's really going on. And so I was like, okay, so I came home, I was having pain. And again, I did marathons, I did bodybuilding. I never competed, but it was like I know pain. You know what I mean? You do
Yeah.
a marathon, that's pain, that's crazy. Why are you doing it? And so, okay, I started having pain in my left hip. I'm like, okay, let me go ahead, and I know how to heal myself. Ibuprofen, heat, all tiger balm. I did karate. I know about all those things.
Mhm.
It wasn't until I could not control that pain. And actually, my grandmother who raised me had come in my dream. She had passed on, and she told me it was time to come with her. Now, this was right before I started experiencing the pain. So, again, I was having all this stress, and I came home. So, I started working out a lot. I'm like, let me work out. I know what to do. I could get all the trauma off. And so, when she came in my dream again, I'm like, oh, cool. I had a good life. Like, I was at peace. I never told anyone anything. And so when the pain came on with a vengeance, and I kept going back and forth to the doctors, and they gave me morphine, sent me home, took an x-ray, nothing's wrong. It wasn't until I actually was hospitalized in the military hospital, and they, after 4 days, they're giving me the highest level meds. And after 4 days, they came in and said, Captain Harrell, again, captain slash colonel, just to give you a thing,
Yeah.
we can't find anything. We're sending you home today. So we're going to send in a psychiatrist to evaluate you because you just got home from deployment. So in my mind, is this a somatic symptom? So I
Mm.
couldn't be a patient because I knew the mental health. I'm a subject matter expert. This is what I do.
Right.
I knew they were going to put me over in the mental health side, and I would have died. I would have died either that day or the next day. So I had to advocate. I could not be a patient. So when that happened, and then they ultimately took a sample of my hip, and I had sepsis. For those of you who know about sepsis, it's basically toxins, disease, and bacteria that's in your body. And once they reach your organs, they start to shut them down one by one. And many people don't make it. A lot of people have had limbs that have been removed because of it. A lot of them, you can't even process the world the same way. So I will tell you that when that happened to me and I was so close to death, I had actually was experiencing, you know, like transitioning a little bit. And I knew, so I
Mm.
was making amends with God. I was sending messages to people. Again, I didn't tell them because they would have said, no, you're crazy. We're putting you over on it. You're not dying. The stuff says you're not dying, right? And
Right.
so the that's when I had to have a true conversation with God. And that's when I had to surrender. So it wasn't
Mm.
until I was put on my deathbed is when that happened, because otherwise I still wanted to stay active duty. And even after that, like, oh, surrender, I'm gonna lay my burdens down, I'm gonna let God take care. No, I still wanted to stay active duty. Oh no, I'm making admiral, I'm doing 30
Yeah.
years. I even said to God, we said I was gonna make admiral, we said. And God said, we said we're gonna do 30 years. God said, I didn't say that.
That was all you.
In the minute, because again, I told you my weight had gone up because of all the meds.
Right.
The minute I laid it down and I turned it over to God, this is probably the smallest I've been in a year, even before that, because I was fit, but I was still a little thicker because the stress. I didn't realize the stress and all the inflammation that was on my body. So it's not like I was I was healthy for but ultimately, the level of fight or flight that I was in my whole life, eventually something was going to come out somewhere at some point.
Mm.
And so it's not until there's a life and death situation And I hope people don't ever have to get to that. Like,
Yeah.
listen now, get awareness now,
Hmm.
figure it out, get with someone who can support you through it. If it's a behavioral health provider, fine. If it's a faith based provider, mentor, mentee, whatever you decide to do, mastermind, whatever, with other people who are doing it, because that's one of the things that I did. I went into a fasting community of all things. I wanted to
Wow.
learn about fasting. I wanted to heal myself because, again, I was hospitalized so many times, and they thought I had cancer, I had sarcoidosis. So, anyways, to answer your question, that was a long-winded answer.
Love it.
It was when it was the life or death situation, and I had to surrender.
Mm, so good.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah.
So you've said that surviving sepsis revealed you rather than breaking you. Can
Mm-hmm.
you unpack what parts of your true self appeared in the aftermath of that? Because I know we're wearing those masks and we're covering it up and we're
Yeah.
compartmentalizing it, but what parts of the you that we see in front of us today were revealed to you during that process?
Oh, it was a dark road. Let me just say that, because it's like you have to go down that road by yourself, in that valley by yourself. But God is with you.
Mm,
And so that's why I wrote my book, God Has My Six, because God is with you. You think you're alone, but your family won't identify with you. Other people won't identify. And the parts of me that and I'll just say this because I say this to a lot of the clients. I work with very high achieving women. That little girl who was hurt, who was in pain, who had to hide and be put in that closet all these years, she got to come out. And she is with me and she gets to travel the world. She just came with me to Austria, Vienna. I just got back yesterday. And so that little girl who you put away, she's still here with you. You
mm,
have time. You still are protecting her. You've been protecting her all these years. But now she gets to come out and play. She didn't get to play. Her childhood was taken from her. You get to take her with you. She's with you now. She is not existent, but when you failed to acknowledge the pain and acknowledge her, you put her away. And
mm.
so now I'm doing different practices and things. I have this, you're going to be the first person to hear this. But
Okay.
yes, so I have a candle company I told you about, but after COVID, and a lot of people can't do the candles anymore. We need to do health in a different way now, for real. Malaysia Helene, because they called me Helene as a child. Helene is my middle name. So we are birthing a new fragrance lifestyle company called Malaysia Helene. So she now gets to be celebrated. Helene, she's here.
Love
Okay,
it.
the world needs to see her, and everybody is now going to get permission to heal their inner child while experiencing the most exquisite fragrances that to made to life. Okay, so bring her out. You are denying her by not healing. You are denying that little girl. She will never be able to come outside and play when you had to hide from everybody and cry all the time and hide your wounds. Let her come out and play.
Mm. So what you say, you got both of us on here crying, but what you
Oh, I didn't expect this. Listen, I just got off the road. I got things to do. I didn't even know.
but what I'm hearing you say is to give yourself permission to heal
Yes.
is to give yourself that younger version of you that
Yes.
experienced your first
Yes.
trauma the permission
Yes.
to come back out. She doesn't have to
Yes.
hide anymore.
You
She
don't have
doesn't
to
have to
hide.
pretend to not be hurt because there's other people who need her to be healed so that they don't have to deal with themselves.
That's
She
right.
doesn't have to be that anymore. You're inviting her into the room
Yes.
because she has permission to speak up, to be seen, to be heard, and to be present
Yes.
where you've been stifling her existence for so long because it was too hard to try to heal
That's
her.
right. And do all the fun things she wanted to do. I get to do
Love
that
it.
now. I get to
Yeah.
travel the world, go to theme parks, different things that I get to
Love it.
do that I could not do when I was a child. You can do that now. That's why people color, people do artwork. Where's your creativity? Your writing. What did you used to do when you were little that you
Yeah.
loved before the world told you that it wasn't safe to do those things anymore?
Yes.
Yes.
Before the world tried to scare it out of you because you
Yes.
can't fulfill your role if
That's
you're
right.
busy playing.
That's right.
Yes. Woo! All right. So we're coming to the end, but I have one last question.
Okay.
If someone right now feels unseen, exhausted, overwhelmed, tired, knows that they're in pain, but can't give themselves and hasn't given themselves the ability to be seen, what's
Mm-hmm.
one question that you would ask them or leave them with to start guiding them toward healing?
This is a good one. I'm thinking because I use different ones and I do this meditation with people called the perfect day. But if you could imagine yourself living your dream life, your absolute dream life, what would you do and what how would your days look? Now,
Mm,
I've asked hundreds, maybe even thousands of people this with the trainings that I do too, right? And no one that has answered that question has said, I won the lottery today. No one.
mm-mm.
Most people, it's, I would be on a beach or I would be having dinner with this person. I would, my family relationships would be healed. I'd spend the day with my mom or my dad or my children, and or maybe I'd be alone by myself in a different country and I'd be experiencing. No one ever said a materialistic thing. I got this new car. I got this new house. No one out of the years that I've been practicing has said that. So
Mm,
that's what I would ask you. And what I would say is this, because sometimes, again, it's hard to just change everything.
yeah.
Do one thing, implement one thing every single day into that regime that you would try to do. So if it is going and being near water or going and doing artwork, do that one thing, just one little thing that you can do. Because you had said it earlier that I think, oh, I got to be the PTA mom. I'm on, I don't know how many boards I'm on now. I'm teaching for a universe. I'm still doing things. But again, I'm in my give back season now, right?
Yeah.
What God is telling me to do. Now I get to affect the social workers of the world, right? Who are going out. Now I teach mindfulness and self care. Okay. So if you could do anything, what would it look like? Because we have to see it in our mind before it can come into fruition and manifest. So
Mm,
we give ourselves permission to dream again. What would that dream look like? Maybe it was something that you wanted to do when you were younger and you didn't get to do it. I have one client who's a colonel and she took a DJ class.
oh, I love
She
that.
loves music.
I love that.
Imagine someone that's DJ. She doesn't DJ at clubs, but she knows how to spin the wheel, right? Maybe you're going to take a pottery class. What is one thing that you could do for you to implement and your life? You'll see once you start to feel it. Oh, that energy of how I feel when I'm doing it.
Mm,
When
mm.
I when I just went to Vienna, I went to a perfume house. Of course,
Of course you
I
did.
was in heaven. Okay, do what you would do. Do one thing, okay, that you can implement into your schedule, maybe a couple times a week, maybe even once a week. But if it's something that you could do every day, maybe you're drinking tea out of the most beautiful, exquisite teacup. You're
Mhm.
having that time in the morning for yourself, right? You're drinking designer teas that you love, that you get to taste.
Love that.
Whatever that is, just start there because that's starting to practice a level of mindfulness. Because when you're doing it, that's when you're going to be in your creative senses. That's when you're going to
Yeah.
be in your flow. So you're co creating with the divine all the time, 24/7. But
Yeah.
do something that you love and you'll start to feel how that energy feels, and then you're going to start to say some of these things are not serving me anymore. And you'll see how things start to change in your life.
Yeah. So it's inviting that little girl and you to come out, and it's saying, what feeds me? What
Yeah.
gives me life? And if it's the tea party that you never got to have when you were
Yeah.
sick, and break out your china and have that tea party
Yeah.
now. If it's, you know, for me, it's nature. So like I'll go to a
Yes.
park and just lay in the grass. Like it's,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's those little things that not only start your healing journey from the inside out,
Yep.
that mindfulness, your heart, your soul, all of that time that you're able to connect with God. But it doesn't just start that healing journey, but it reaches back to the version of you that needed a you when
Yes.
you were that age, and it
It sure
pulls her up
does.
to, yeah,
Yeah. Nature is so important when you said that. I
girl,
did grounding for my healing.
yeah,
So I watched the movie Heal, and, of course, some things resonate with you, some things may not, but grounding is the biggest thing. And, if you look at the evidence base, I'm in my PhD for mind body medicine. If you look at the evidence behind the electronic charges that come through your body. So when you lay
wild,
on the ground, that's the ultimate. And then God created nature. You are nature. So when you're at one and you commune, that's why the most therapeutic thing is working in a garden, having a green
yep.
thumb. Start there. That's stuff that doesn't cost $1 million and is right there.
Yes, grounding is the way I mean, I even have a grounding sheet on my bed because
Yeah.
there's something about me needing
Yeah.
that frequency
Yes.
that not just makes me feel connected to God, but it does something inside of me that just says, I can breathe now. I feel like I'm moving in the right space. My body
Yes.
feels at ease. And
Yes.
so if I can't get out in that grass, I'm gonna lay down in this bed on that grounding
That
sheet.
helps with that fight or flight.
It
That really
does.
does. People don't realize. And so when your adrenals and everything's been acting for so long, and then you have hypertension, and that's why so many
Yes,
women pass away from heart disease. Like it does. I mean, we don't realize what trauma does to your body, and keeping
absolutely.
all of that inside. I have everybody read the book, The Body Keeps the Score.
Love that book.
um
Oh,
and I went
it's
to
so
the
good.
training with him, with Dr.
Oh,
Vanderkoff. I went to his training. He travels the world and does that training. It was like standing room. The room was so packed. He needed
I'm
a
not
bigger
shocked.
room.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so good.
it
Um,
is.
this has been amazing. I feel like we're going to have to do it again. But
Yes.
before we do, I need you to promo that book because we
Oh,
all need
thank
to
you.
purchase. So tell us about the book and tell us where we can get it.
Yeah, so the book is called God Has My Six, and it will be released in a couple of months. So please follow me so you can get the first dibs on it. But it is a teaching, healing memoir that it does share my story, but it also shares my aligned success method that talks about how you can use these healing principles in order to, transform your life. So if you're someone who has been saying, I mean, this can be men and women, but for anyone who's been saying, you know what, I know there's something else for me. I
Mm,
know that God wants me to do something different. I want to transform my life. This book is the blueprint for you.
love that. So, y'all, don't just run to the website, run to the socials. This is just a small piece of the amount of wisdom that Malaysia has. Tap into her.
Thank you.
You never know what someone else's experience can teach you. And if somebody else can hand over the experience and you don't have to go through all of the trauma that they went through to get it, that is the way to do it. And so go to
Absolutely.
her socials, go find a way to make sure you can follow when that book is dropping so that you can get it. And as I always say, knowledge gained and kept to yourself is selfish, but knowledge shared with the world could just be the catalyst for change that they need to break free from the bondage that they're experiencing. So share this message, share it on your social platforms. Make sure you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and the podcast because I'm going to be connecting with Malaysia again so that we can have her back on after that book drops so that we can talk some more about it. Thank you so, so much for being a guest on the show. And thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you again next time.
Thank you for having me.